The air in the meditation hall was thick with chatter and laughter. 108 monks, clad in their saffron and maroon robes, filled the spacious room with their youthful energy. They were supposed to be in deep meditation, but the mood was light and raucous. It was a gathering of friends enjoying each other's company. Outside, the sun shone brightly, lending an almost playful tone to their gathering, while inside, the only sound was the soft clinking of ceremonial bowls. Amongst them sat the head monk, a venerable figure with deep-set eyes and a serene expression that seemed undisturbed by the clamor surrounding him. He had gathered the monks for a very special meditation session, one that he hoped would impart an essential teaching, but was met with distraction instead. They were young, full of life, and perhaps a little too caught up in the joys of companionship. After observing the escalating noise for some time, the head monk decided to intervene. Rising gracefully from his cushion, he moved towards a pitcher of water that stood on a wooden table at the front of the hall. The noise continued unabated, and he took a deep breath, visualizing the purpose of his actions. With a steady hand, he began to pour the water onto the floor. As the cold water splashed against the wooden planks, it caught the attention of the monks, who turned to look, their conversations faltering. Still, the head monk continued to pour. He filled the room with an even greater sense of curiosity as the water pooled around him, nudging their playfulness aside. The murmurs decreased, becoming a whispered inquiry about what was happening. The head monk said nothing, pouring water until he had nearly emptied the pitcher, its contents now flowing freely across the floor. At last, a soft silence fell over the room. The monks had quieted, their laughter dissipating, replaced by a collective gaze directed at the puddle of water spreading beneath their feet. The head monk gently set the pitcher down, letting the last few drops escape onto the floor. He looked at his students, his voice calm and measured. What you see here is not just water on the floor. It is a representation of your minds. A few monks shifted uncomfortably at his words, sensing the direction the teaching would take. The head monk continued, "When I began pouring this water, you were too caught up in conversation to notice. Even as the water flowed and the sounds changed around you, your minds remained elsewhere. In the same way, we often allow our thoughts, distractions, and desires to seep into our minds, preventing us from truly engaging with the present moment." A deep understanding began to wash over the group. They had come here to seek enlightenment, yet they were lost in their chatter, failing to comprehend the significance of stillness and focus. The head monk continued, "The water is a metaphor for the multitude of thoughts we experience, sometimes serene, sometimes tumultuous. When we fail to acknowledge our distractions, we miss the opportunity to cultivate stillness within ourselves. Our meditation practice is a chance to pour ourselves into the present moment, to cleanse our minds of unnecessary noise." The young monks nodded, absorbing his words like sponges, realizing how they often let external influences dominate their internal peace. In a world crowded with chatter, they had a rich opportunity to draw from the well of insight present in stillness. "But," the head monk said, lifting a finger to emphasize his point, "if we can learn to recognize these distractions, we can choose what to fill our minds with, just as I have chosen to pour water onto the floor. Let us turn our focus inward. Instead of drowning in this sea of noise, let us choose clarity and concentration." With that, he invited them to close their eyes and sit in silence once more. The atmosphere transformed. Each monk felt the quiet shift within them, the murmurs of their earlier glee fading into echoes of wisdom. Together, they began to breathe deeply, allowing the water that had filled their hearts with curiosity to guide their thoughts toward the deeper teachings of mindfulness and tranquility. Minutes turned into an hour as they entered a profound state of reflection. Instead of being merely monks among friends, they transformed into seekers and learners embarking on the intimate journey of self-discovery. As time passed, one young monk opened his eyes and looked at the puddle beneath him, glistening with the reflections of soft light filtering through the windows. The water had become a mirror, depicting not just the physical realm but the inner landscape of his mind. He realized that it was in recognizing one's thoughts that true enlightenment could be approached. Each thought that rose like ripples on water could be acknowledged without judgment. In doing so, he could create a more harmonious existence within himself. After the session ended, the head monk spoke once more as his students awoke to their surroundings. Remember this moment and the water that has left its mark upon the floor. Each day presents us with distractions, but within us lies the power to choose how we flow through the world, calmly and attentively, or chaotically and carelessly. One monk, emboldened by the lesson, shared, "Master, I often feel overwhelmed by my responsibilities and the expectations placed upon me. How can I find clarity amidst the noise?" The head monk smiled, recognizing the youthful inquiry as a poignant one. "Ah, my dear student, life will always bring its responsibilities and demands, but it is how you respond to those demands that shapes your experience. Like water, you must learn to adapt and flow around life's obstacles. Embrace each challenge as another opportunity for growth and let your mind rest within the stillness of acceptance." Many monks breathed a sigh of relief as the weighty truth washed over them. Each of them saw their role in this journey of self-improvement. They were not mere participants. They were architects of their own enlightenment, able to shape their reality through their choices and reactions. As the gathering came to an end, the head monk stood before them, conveying a final reflection. "Every day, we wake to the gentle invitation of the universe to cultivate our minds like the rich soil that grows a flourishing garden. It is our responsibility to tend to what emerges, negative thoughts, distractions, challenges, by understanding that we have the power to place our focus where it will flourish best." With this teaching firmly rooted in their hearts, the monks departed the hall, eager to face a world filled with possibilities. The simplicity of the head monk's lesson intertwined with the complexity of their lives, resonating deep within their spirits. In that moment, as they exited the space, they were not merely monks bound by tradition. They were enlightened beings awakening to their potential to overcome obstacles, confront distractions, and most importantly, to invest in their self-improvement actively. As they stepped into the brilliant sunlight, they knew that each moment was a choice, a chance to fill their minds and hearts with intent and purpose, just like the water. They marched forward, examples of peace and awareness, embracing the journey ahead with open hearts and a firm resolve to strive for wisdom and clarity. The essence captured within this story is a gentle reminder that distraction is an inevitable part of life, but so is our ability to transcend it. We may be caught in the chaos of everyday experiences, but we possess the strength to seek clarity and embrace the path of self-improvement. Know that even the loudest conversations can be quieted by the mindful act of inward reflection. The pond of your mind is waiting patiently for you to drop your worries, to pour intention into your practice every day. Trust in the process, believe in your potential, and allow yourself to awaken fully to life's magnificent offerings.